Assalamualaikum, my name is Aliya binti Othman and my metric number CF210307. I want to talk about the introductions for overview of the construction site. Preliminary site visit. Preliminary site visit refer to an initial visit or inspection conducted at a specific location or site before further project planning or implementation take place. The purpose of this visit is to gather relevant information, assess the site suitability, identify potential challenges, and make initial observations. Second is for objective for our project is one to identify the most significant safety and health hazard with the project and propose effective control measure to mitigate those risks. Second is to increase students' understanding of sensitivity to workplace safety and health in the discipline of civil engineering. For overview, working on a construction site entails a variety of tasks intended to construct, renovate, and demolish buildings. The framework construction start when the foundation is finished. These entail building structures out of various materials such as steel, concrete, or wood to form wall, column, beams, and floors. After the fundamental framework is finished, interior finishing work start. To that end, plasterboard must be installed in addition to painting, flooring, tiling, cabinets, and fittings. An additional interior system including security, audiovisual, and fire protection system must be installed. Outdoor area are frequently included on construction site. In order to do this, landscaping, paving sidewalk, putting in parking lot, building fence, and adding additional outside feathers like a playground or leisure scape are all necessary. This project involved the construction a single family residence on a vacant lot. The objective is to build a modern, energy efficient home that meet the specific need and prefer of the client. The project will be encompass all stage of house construction from planning and design to final completions and handover.
Assalamualaikum, my name is ADRINA YASMIN binti AHMAD KAMARULZAMAN, CF210078. I would like to present types of work that been carried out for this selected construction site. First, excavation and trenching. Second, heavy equipment operation. Third, scaffolding and elevated. Fourth, cutting materials. Fifth, crane and rigging operation. And lastly, concrete and masonry work. First, excavation and trenching. In this construction site, excavation works is excavating for foundation, pipes, and other utilities. Digging trench also involved in these sites. Trenching and excavation operations pose serious hazard to all employees such as cave-in, fall, falling object, hazardous atmosphere, and hazard from mobile equipment. Second is heavy equipment operation. Heavy machinery such as crane, excavator, bulldozer, backhoe, hazard that has in the construction site like operating a machine without safety guards, crashing or being run over, and collisions. Third is scaffolding and elevated work. Scaffolding is a temporary structure used to offer a safe working platform for people performing jobs at heights. Scaffolding are frequently used in construction, maintenance, and repair. Hazard why we use scaffolding such as fall from height, unsecure ladder slipping, overloading of platform and board, and other hazard. Next is cutting materials. Workers use the equipment to separate the components. Hazard include noise, electric shocks, eye injuries, cut, crushed toe and fingers, and exposure to metal forms. Concrete and masonry works. Workers are involved in concrete pouring and formwork. Common hazards faced by workers in concrete masonry are falling from height, falling object, skin exposure to cement dust, resulting in dermatitis and sensitizations, and flying debris that can cause eye injuries. Lastly is crane and rigging operations. Crane operator and riggers oversee lifting and transporting numerous materials. Drops loads, crane collapse, and employees being injured by swinging cargo are hazard on this construction site.
Okay, for potential hazard at the selected construction site is physical hazard, chemical hazard, and ergonomic hazard. So for physical hazard, we have falling from height, working at height such as and scaffolding or ladders without sufficient for prevention precaution can result in serious injuries or fatalities. So for the second is moving object. Heavy machinery such as cranes, bulldozers, excavators, or forklift can cause serious harm or even death if not used properly when operating near or around moving machinery. Workers should use extreme caution. So for number three is slip, trips, and falls. As construction site often have uneven terrain, buildings at various stage of completion and unused materials on site. It is unsurprising that slip, trips, and falls are common hazards. So for the fourth, material and manual handling. Material and equipment are constantly being lifted and moved around construction site. So whether this be manually or by equipment, either way, handling carries a degree of risk. So for five, sharp object and instrument. Improper usage of or handling of sharp instrument that involve saws, drills, or cutting equipment may lead to cuts, laceration, or amputation. And for the last one, for physical hazard, is noise and vibration. Construction site may produce high level of noise and vibration, which, if not adequately handled, can lead to hearing loss, exhaustion, or other health concerns. Okay, this is an example of physical hazard. Is falling from height, moving object, slip, trips and falls, material and manuals, manual handling, and sharp object and instrument, noise and vibration. So for ergonomic hazard, we have four. That is working at height. Construction workers may be required to do jobs at height, such as on scaffolding. This may increasing the risk of falls and accompanying injuries to the muscle and joints. Maintaining stability and working in awkward position can worsen ergonomic dangers. So for the repetitive motion, certain construction operations such as hammering, drilling or plastering require repetitive action, muscle exhaustion, tendinitis, and the other repetitive strain injuries can result from continuous repetition without enough rest. So for heavy lifting and carrying, manually moving and carrying construction materials such as lifting heavy loads or pushing or pulling materials with a wheelbarrow can cause muscular and joint strain, resulting in musculoskeletal injuries. Improper lifting techniques beyond their capabilities can lead to back injuries, strain, or sprains. And for the last one is posture while doing work. Workers may be forced to bend, crouch, or squat for long periods of time in position that strain the body. This position can place undue strain on the back, knees, and the other joints. So for the last one is chemical hazard. We have two, that is asbestos and dust. For asbestos, asbestos may be present in building materials such as insulation, roofing, and flooring. Asbestos fiber inhalation can lead to significant respiratory disorder such as lung cancer, mesothelioma, and asbestosis. So for the dust activities such as cutting, grinding, or drilling of concrete, bricks, or stones can generate dust. Silicosis, a dangerous lung illness, can be caused by prolonged exposure to silica dust.
Hazard identification. Hazard identification is a critical step in the risk assessment process. It involves systematically identify and recognize a potential hazard that exists in the workplace. The purpose of hazard identification is to identify situations, substance, process, or a condition that have the potential to cause harm to worker, visitor, or environment. Some methods and approaches commonly used for hazard identification. First is workplace inspections, job hazard analysis, and then incident and accident investigations, review of safety data sheet, consultation with workers, and review of industry standard and guidelines.
Risk assessment. Risk can be presented in variety of ways to communicate the result of analysis to make decision on risk control. For risk analysis that use likelihood and severity in qualitative method, presenting result in a risk matrix is a very effective way of communicating the distribution of the risk throughout a plan and area in a workplace. Risk can be calculated using the formula L by S, relative risk. This is a table of likelihood and severity of an occurrence. This is a table of risk matrix table after we calculate them based on likelihood and severity. Then a table of in-depth description of risk matrix table. It have three categories, which is high, medium, and low. Hazard assessment, a high risk must have immediate action to resolve risk to life, safety, or the environment. Individual responsibility for required action, including follow-up, must be clearly identified. A further detailed risk assessment method may require such as quantitative risk assessment as means of determining suitable controls measure. Next is risk control. Control is the process of removing or deactivating a risk in such a way that it does not present a risk to workers who must enter a space or work around equipment as part of their regular duties. These are steps were taken for the control of risk. Quick attention to critical or high risk hazard, Effective temporary solution until permanent fix will apply. Long-term solution for those risks which can cause long-term illness. Long-term solution for those risks with the worst consequences. Training of workers on the risks which continue to remain and its control measure. Regarding monitoring to check whether control measures are intact or not.
Okay, next is control measures for physical hazard in selected construction site. Okay, first like falling from height, moving objects, material and manual handling, structural collapse, sharp objects and instruments, and noise and vibrations. And lastly is sleep, trips and falls. I will continue with a control measure for physical hazard in selected construction site. Okay, first for falling from height. Okay, falling from height is where there is a risk of falling from a height. Install suitable fall protection device such as guardrails, safety nets or personal fall arrest system (PFAS). Okay, ensure aware that adequate scaffolding, ladders and access device are utilized, maintained and inspected on a regular basis. Okay, lastly is provide proper head training and supervision as well as fall prevention measures. Okay, for moving object is operators and personnel should be properly trained in the safe usage and operation of machinery and equipment. Secondly, install audio warning device and cameras on machines to notify employee when they move. Okay. Next is material and manual handling. Okay, ensure that all machinery and equipment is adequately guarded to avoid contact with moving components, pinch points, or other potentially dangerous place. And lastly is provide instruction on how to operate and maintain machinery and equipment safely. Okay, for slip, trips, and falls, to provide the safety sign, uh, wearing personal protective equipment (PPE) in construction sites. Okay, next, still with control measures for physical hazard in selected construction site. Okay, I will continue with structural collapse. Okay, structural collapse is to ensure structural stability, use skilled engineers to design and supervise the buildings of structures. Okay, next, conduct frequent inspections and reinforcements of temporary structures such as scaffolding. Okay, okay, I will continue with sharp objects and instruments. Okay, personal protection equipment (PPE) such as gloves and safety glasses should be provided to workers, and establish safe work practice such as utilizing clamps or vise to hold items in place when cutting or drilling. And lastly is noise and vibrations. Okay, use engineering controls such as noise barriers or enclosures to reduce noise levels. Provide workers with hearing protection such as earplugs or earmuff and ensure their proper use. Next is control measures for ergonomic hazard in selected construction site. The first is repetitive motions. Repetitive motions provide ergonomic tools and equipment with low strain, fatigue reducing handles. Uh, Work height, angles, and distance should be adjusted to create neutral body positions and minimize unpleasant postures. Okay, next is posture while doing work. Uh, First is provide ergonomic tools and equipment with low strain, fatigue reducing handles. Second is work height, angles, and distance should be adjusted to create neutral body positions and minimize unpleasant postures. Same with repetitive motions. Okay, for working at height, to lessen the danger of force and the strain associated with working at heights, provide workers with adequate fall protection equipment and training. And lastly, for heavy lifting and carrying, okay, reduce the need for physical lifting and transporting by using mechanical assistance such as cranes, hoists, or charts. Um, all employees should be trained on safe lifting techniques and ergonomy. Last, for control measures for chemical hazard in selected construction site. Okay, for first is asbestos. First, when dealing with airborne substance, use respiratory protection equipment such as respirators, okay, face shields or safety goggles to defend against splash or airborne particles. Third is chemical leaks or punctures can be avoided by wearing protective footwear. Okay, highly visibility vest or clothing to enhance visibility and prevent collisions. Okay, second is dust. Okay, for dust is face shields or safety goggles to defend against dust or airborne particles. When dealing with airborne substance, use respiratory protection equipment such as respirators. Okay, for conclusion for our project. Okay, in conclusion, managing hazards in occupational safety and health (OSH) is essential for ensuring the well-being and safety of workers in various industries. Okay. Hazard can pose significant risk to individuals and organizations, leading to injuries, illness, property damage, and even loss of life. Okay, to minimize or eliminate this hazard, a systematic approach is required. The control measures for hazard management in OSH involve a combination of strategies, including elimination, engineering controls, administrative controls, personal protective equipment (PPE). Other than that, hazard communication, emergency preparedness, regular inspection and maintenance, and lastly, like behavior-based safety programs.